Club Radio. Club Radio.
Check it out.
Drop it.
Welcome to 50 for today. This is Donald Taylor, and I'm hosting this with my wife, Yvonne Taylor. And I'd like to welcome you. Today we have a very exciting show for us, and I look forward to our guest speaker to really enlighten us and provide hope for many families suffering with mental illness or issues of in their families, and provide hope, and also through a personal testimony shows the movement of God in one's personal life. Yvonne, can you start us with scripture, part of scripture for today?
I can. Thank you. So today I'm going to read Psalm 30, the second verse. O Lord, my God, I called to you for help, and you healed me. Okay.
Often, mental illness is described from a Christian point of view as being something of the devil, or is based in one's sin. But because of grace, we understand that mental illness is a physiological disorder, just like a sickness, any sickness a person may have. Like any sickness, can be healed. And many families, and really I hate to say society, we approach this as dysfunctional behavior, but in reality, as Christians and as people of faith, we should see this as an opportunity to minister to people and provide compassion. Our guest today is who, Yvonne?
Our guest today is Erin Callanan. And I've known Erin for a little over three and a half years, and I am just really excited for her to join us today. Erin is just a dynamic woman. She's a national trainer, and she is one of the best trainers, truly, that I've ever seen. She's a publisher, and she's authored a book, Beautifully Bipolar, and I'm sure she'll share more information about that. She is on national as well as local boards. She's a big sister and a mentor to a young lady, and I thought Erin was only in her 20s, but she's in her very, very, very early 30s. She's one to keep your eye on as far as her career goes. Just someday she is just going to be, I'm sure, world famous. She's just got so much going on in her life. So enough talking from me, Erin. I just would like to welcome you to the show, and pretty much going to give you an open mic to just share with our listeners as you feel led to share. And so I want you to just begin wherever you want to begin your story, and let people understand that while there are some mental health issues that aren't healed per se, but they're managed, and life goes on, and you're a wonderful example. So we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. It's such an honor and privilege to be here. Two things that are near and dear to my heart are Christ and mental health. And so to be able to kind of pair the two and speak openly about it today is just really special to me. I've been an advocate for mental health for nearly 14 years now, after I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder when I was 17. And as many of us in the community and society know, mental health has a very negative, scary, oftentimes violent connotation with it. And while I had, several years of struggle at the beginning with medication and diagnosis and, dropping out of college, some real struggles, among all of that, I recognize that you can live and thrive with a mental illness. And so with a lot of support and faith, I decided that I no longer wanted to be silent in talking about the issue. And by speaking out and providing hope and potentially being and inspiring someone to look up to or to talk to, my family and I have been able to openly share about mental health and some of the successes that I've had as far as living a life that is full of love and hope, and even in the downfalls that everybody has in their life, to have faith that it's only temporary, and there's there's really a lot of potential regardless of having this illness.
Could you talk about the spiritual aspect of your faith walk?
Mm-hmm.
How did God come in and play a significant part in your building hope and that spirit and developing that supportive environment?
Sure. When I was first diagnosed, I was in the hospital literally 4 days before I started my senior year of high school, and mental illness doesn't run in my family, so it kind of snuck up on us. And my first thoughts were, God must be punishing me. I deserve this. Maybe I'm not worthy of his love. And I was really angry at the beginning. And so I really questioned my faith for quite a while. I felt like, this God that I've believed in my whole life clearly isn't protecting me anymore. He's not hearing my prayers. He's not helping me. And then I was able to kind of change perspectives, and, God only gives so much to kind of his strongest soldiers and what they can carry. Right. And so through that challenge over, a couple years, it really led me to consistently pursue faith and believe that even in kind of the darkness, there's reason for that. And with prayer and hope, healing is there. And so it's really led me to a place where I can be really healthy and have faith and trust and know that, I wouldn't be here today without the struggles that I've had.
Thank you. So, Erin, talk a little bit, if you would, about self-care and management of medication and how that plays a role.
Absolutely. I think medication is always a really difficult thing for many folks because, just like having a mental illness, there's also a lot of stigma around taking medication. And I originally started off taking medication, and like any rebellious, angry at the world 18-year-old, I went off all of my medication. And, within 4 months, I was back in the hospital. And so that was a point where I realized, this isn't a character flaw, this is a medical condition. And if I was diabetic, I would take insulin, and I wouldn't be judged for that. So it was really kind of a perspective change for me. And so I have been a strong believer in medication throughout the years. I've taken many, many different types of medications. So my advice for folks is have faith in the medical field, and that there's fortunately a lot of options today. Had this been 40 years ago, it was very limited. So just keep trying. I have tried all different types of combinations, but with the support of an incredible psychiatrist who 14 years ago I still see today, or 14 years now I have a history with her. Just keep trying. And while there's some side effects, the quality of life far exceeds any side effects I've experienced. And in order to maintain a healthy life, self-care is a big part of that. And so, definitely, I think having faith not only in yourself but in kind of the bigger picture. And it's having this illness has put me in a place to feel as though maybe I have purpose in my life. And so utilizing that, I've really gotten involved in work and volunteer things that kind of feed my soul and make me feel good about where I stand in this world. I've got a limited time here, so I'm going to make it count. So among doing things that kind of give me hope and passion, sleep is really important for me. I am very consistent with taking medication. I have sought out a really incredible support system. Those who are not encouraging in the past, I, made the choice that if I'm going to be healthy, I can't have this negative influence in my life. So really maintaining kind of a positive support system and just listening to my body. If I feel like something's a little off, I'm the expert in that area. And so really acknowledging where I stand as far as mental health goes.
Erin, it's amazing that you have hope in the face of this. Tell me about your support systems. What kind of things support people and institutions do you feel have led to you to be able to deal with this sickness and really be effective and live your life out to the fullest?
Absolutely. I am really blessed in the fact that I have incredible parents, married of 39 years, who have really been my biggest cheerleaders since the very beginning. As far as my actual diagnosis, as I mentioned, my doctor, Dr. Caspian, was really the first doctor that I saw that viewed me as a person and not as an illness. So because of that, I really kind of was able to recognize, my self-worth, and that having a mental illness doesn't define me. It doesn't make me less of a person. And so I had encouragement from extended family, a few select friends at the time back in the day, but really kind of hanging on to what's true to me and the people in my life that encouraged me. Because of that, I've been able to build a support system today where I'm in a career that I love, and I've been encouraged to be open and honest about my mental illness and what self-care means for me. And that has really helped me broaden that support system. So with family, friends, my career, I've kind of positioned myself in a good place. So when I do have struggles, I have a whole lot to fall back on.
That's interesting, because a lot of times people with illness will move away from support systems. They kind of isolate themselves. And I'm hearing you say you're going out, you're developing your own support systems, your support networks, and you use them when you need them. Is that right?
Right, absolutely. And, within that also, I was originally diagnosed when I was 17, so it's been 14 years now. So I'm in a much different place now than I was, many, many years ago. It took years of struggle and, feeling suicidal and going through an eating disorder and cutting and some of these really self-destructive behaviors that people who are struggling engage in. And so I think those struggles helped me identify the real need of this active support system. So, I went through the experience of disengaging and isolating, but when you've got those cheerleaders in your life, they don't allow you to stay in that dark place for all that long.
Erin, I just wanted to ask you, going back to your family, a lot of times when we get down the road, people are supportive and all of that. How did the early years of your diagnosis affect your family? Because I can't imagine that they were just cheerleaders all the time and not affected.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great question. It's important that people recognize that, mental illness doesn't just affect the one person who has the illness. It affects the entire family, anybody surrounding them. So, in all honesty, it was devastating for my parents. It was devastating for my brother Adam, who saw me have my second episode in college. And they were really at a loss. I think they felt a sense of blame almost, as though, did we do something to cause this? Where did we go wrong as parents for this to happen? So there was sort of some guilt or some shame in wondering why this happened. It was also a struggle for my family, too, because we knew nothing about mental illness, and you don't talk about it, right? It's taboo, it's shameful, it's embarrassing. So we didn't really know where to go. I mean, my parents would reach out to some other families and Flagstaff that they knew maybe had mental illness in their family, and they were shut down. So kind of that sense of we don't know which direction to turn. They were scared, and it was devastating for them to watch me struggle. I'm not a parent, but I can imagine as parents, all you want to do is help your kids, and you don't want to see them ever in pain. And so, over the years, it was sort of like, all right, well, we'll just build a team among ourselves. We weren't aware of services at that time, and there's many of them today. So kind of through our pain and suffering and a lot of tears in the beginning, it really helped us grow and become a stronger family.
Do you think it's easier for families to deal with a physical sickness such as cancer, leukemia, compared with mental illness?
Yeah.
Because of stigma?
Absolutely. And no illness is easy to deal with, whether it's, physical or mental or emotional, whatever. But I think the difference is that if I were to, have showed up here for this interview and be a part of this, and I came in a wheelchair, I most likely, by whoever might be here with me, society, let's say, view me very differently. You know, how can I help you? If I had a broken leg, or if somebody knows I'm suffering from cancer, their response is of passion and caring. What can I do to support you? How can I help you? You don't deserve this. I'm so sorry you're going through this. And with mental illness, it's sort of like sometimes, you know, I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole, you know, whether it's because you know, I think the lack of understanding and education around it, people have negative assumptions about mental illness, which my family and I had at the beginning too. You know, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to, you know, does this mean I'm going to be a criminal or homeless or crazy? I mean, what does this actually mean? So I think it's just fear of the unknown. You know, when somebody has a physical illness, we understand that. You know, I mean, their own experience is unique to them, but we feel more comfortable talking to them or asking how to help. With mental illness, there's a real sense of fear, I think, and that really just feeds the stigma.
It's interesting. In my family, we have I have family members who have suffered mental illness in the past, and it was always the stigma. There's always the sense of powerlessness, the sense of feeling you just don't know what to expect with the person.
Yeah.
And I find that in that circumstances, it's easier to pull away than to outreach a person and offer them help, compassion, and love.
Yes.
Things have changed. But things in many ways have not changed. Have you felt that as well?
Yeah, I think, you know, I think it's important for families or friends or whoever to support someone with a mental illness, but there's also a sense of accountability and responsibility in that. You know, it's important that I take care of myself, and I'm the one making the decisions whether or not I manage medication and pursue therapy and engage in activities and careers that are healthy for me. And so, you know, I've worked with a lot of families over the last few years, and they'll say, you know, I want to help my son or my sister or whoever, but it's difficult to help someone who doesn't want to help themselves. And I think the challenge in that, I don't think anybody ever wants to be ill or wants to struggle, but I can understand from the outside perspective how sometimes it's easier to just walk away, to remove yourself. And my thoughts are always, you know, please be present in any way you can. You know, I know that it might be difficult. However, that's the time when they need you the most, because society is already stigmatizing them. Society is already walking away from them. So anything you can do to still be a presence in their life can be really powerful.
I know you're wrapping up pretty soon, but I'd like to talk, have you talk about what you're currently doing in terms of promoting this issue and serving as an advocate.
Yeah, I've been really fortunate in that I was able to publish my book, Beautifully Bipolar, actually on my 29th birthday, so two years ago during Mental Health Awareness Month. And so I've been able to go out and do public speaking events. My parents have joined, my brother, my psychiatrist, really just spreading the message. And I think through using all of our voices, we can really create a pretty strong force.
Is there a website where someone can contact you or get a copy of your book?
Absolutely. My website is www.beautifullybipolar.com, and you can also buy the book on Amazon. My contact information is on the website, as well as a whole lot of other mental health resources.
And we know the genius behind this whole production. We'll put that on our website. I see her typing right now, so I know we're going to do the website for our listeners to hear and see and to follow up with Erin. This is such an exciting and, I think, relevant issue. I'd like to invite you back. Is that right, Vaughn? Can we invite her back?
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness. I would be thrilled.
Indeed, yes. So now is it time for us to discuss a issue of the week?
Yes.
Topic of the
and
week?
I guess we have a special guest person who will give a commentary on our issue of the week.
Sure. I just wanted to just acknowledge this last week was Suicide Prevention Awareness Week. And I think suicide is something that touches every one of us. I know that I've been affected pretty closely. And so I just wanted to encourage us all that we all have a role in speaking out to hopefully prevent suicide rather than responding when it happens. So let's do what we can to spread some hope and reach out and help folks not have to suffer in silence.
That's very important, because often people who commit suicide, they give warning signals that we don't really see until after the event.
Right, absolutely. And I think, over the years I've been able to look at it in a way of, suicide is so controversial and it's so challenging, but looking at it from the experience of this person is in so much pain and they want that to end, just like when we have an animal who's in pain or we have a loved one who's in pain. And so what we can do to support them and encourage them and help them see that their current experience is temporary, that's powerful.
Suicide is a lot like mental illness, in that as a society, we're not comfortable with that topic, and we don't want to talk about it. And I think because ultimately it leaves people wondering, the big question of why. Why did a person do that? Why did they feel like that's the only answer to the situation? Do you have any ideals in how we can respond to other people that, even sometimes jokingly say, they're considering suicide? Because I'm always kind of under the impression when people bring that topic up, even if they are saying it as a joke, that underlying, that's a thought, that's a something that they're turning around in their head, even though they're joking about it.
Absolutely. I think, sometimes there's warning signs, sometimes there's not, but typically there's always warning signs. It's whether or not people around them pick up on those. And so the fear, I think, sometimes is asking, if I think this person's suicidal, should I ask them? Absolutely. Call it out. It's okay to ask somebody if they're feeling suicidal or if they have a plan. When somebody that we know tells us that they are having suicidal ideations, or they make statements like, this is just too much, I wish I wasn't here, I'm a burden to the world, there's no light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing. If we can engage in a conversation where we take that seriously, even if they say it in a joking manner, they're still saying it for a reason. That thought is still floating around for whatever reason. So if we lived in a community, and I just hope that society changes 100%, but if we lived in a space where we could talk about feeling suicidal, having those thoughts and emotions, just like we could talk about how terrible a headache we had that one day.
Yeah.
And it would be okay to talk about it. It wouldn't make the person who is struggling feel so isolated. So maybe they wouldn't get to the extent of actually taking their own life because they were encouraged to talk about it, and they would find out about potential resources, and they could be encouraged that they might be having a medical issue pertaining to mental illness and why they're feeling that way. So it's just about spreading some hope ahead of time.
I think the word hope, that was a word that underlined initially, and I come back to it again and again, that as people of faith, that we have to provide hope not only to people experiencing mental illness and possibility of suicide, but also family members of those individuals.
Absolutely.
And often as people of hope, people of faith, we just don't know what to say, but just saying, God's with you, I'm here for you, how can I help you, will break down the walls of isolation and provide hope for those people who are experiencing this sickness in their lives.
I'm always amazed that there are millions of people on this earth, and yet so many people feel isolated and feel alone and feel that no one cares about them. And I think, just a step is to remember that at all times everyone is going through something in their life. And if we could just treat each other kindly at all times and just let people know, hey, I care about you and I care about your journey and what you're going through right now. Yeah. It just be that little bit of support and hope for that moment in time. I think we would just be such a better society.
And maybe for this week, if we have each of our listeners reach out to at least one person to provide hope to, who they know may be suffering, who may be facing some things in their lives, just to say, I'm thinking about you and I'm praying for you.
Absolutely.
it can change the world. So I'm gonna ask our listeners to at least reach out to at least one person during this week, to provide hope. The word of prayer is very simple. Reach out and touch one, and show God love for those individuals. That's just the word of God today. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you so much for having me. This was incredible.
And it was wonderful. I'm looking forward to our next show.
Indeed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
And God bless the listeners out there. And I would just say, if you're a listener who is experiencing something, reach out to someone and just trust that there's someone that you know that wants to just be in touch with you and support you, and take a chance and let your needs be known, and then just trust God in that person that they will help you and support you. Reaching out might be the first step in your journey of finding healing, finding hope, finding help. So God bless you until next time.
Also,
thank you so
I want
much.
to remind you to please listen, because we'll give information about official contacts for Aaron, but also we can be reached by Facebook and by email for your prayers, concerns, and we'd like to hear from our audience. One good news, we have reached over 100 listeners in our since we started, and that's a big goal for us. And if you like the show, share it with other people, and help you grow. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Looking for a place to promote your event or organization? For more details, click the sponsorship button on our website, www.clublightradio.com.